Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about these $35 Deluxe Super 7s. I have a whole lot to say about it. I did talk about it for a bit in my news, but I have so much more to say, and the possibilities of the future, where this can go, what's happened in the past, and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to discuss the kind of beginnings of when I actually saw this and saw this starting, and that's pretty cool. And I was wishing for different things to happen in the future. Well, I'm actually wishing for more stuff to happen, because maybe we can get some troop builders for $35 and make it a bit more reasonable. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about the future possible implications of $35 Ultimates in deluxe form for Super 7 coming up. Okay, just so you know, today's the last day to back the HasLab. By the time you watch this, you probably only have a few hours left. And personally, I don't care if you back it. I just want to let people know in case they forget. Because I was putting it off to the end. I finally did back it. And it is fully funded. All tiers are unlocked. $325 plus it's $27 shipping. But if you're a Prime member, then it's free shipping. So with all of that, I backed it. It's a solid project, but I really do like the Rattler, and I only ordered one. So I reported on these, and I have to admit, I thought these Power Rangers were Hasbro, the last of their Lightning collection before Playmates got a hold of it. But you guys, several of you in the comments section, thank you so much for pointing it out to me, said, no, Mike, these are Super 7 Ultimates, and they're only $35 instead of $50. And I gave it a double take. The reason I didn't notice that at first was because it's only in small writing on the box and small writing in there. But the fact that it was on Hasbro Pulse made me a little weary of this. It was kind of weird in my opinion, but still looks pretty cool. It's a pretty interesting setup here to get these for $35 bare bones. Very few, just very few accessories. But just exactly what you need. I don't know what to do with all the extra accessories for Power. I've got a few Super 7 Ultimates that I got for dirt cheap, and I'm going to probably fill them out with these. Now, these are a shiny paint instead of a flat paint. These probably won't mix as well with the first run of them, but I probably will get the rest of the colors to finish out a nice little team. Now, I didn't even know this, but Mad Hatter over on his YouTube channel pointed out that the Biggie, the Notorious B.I.G., they put up that Ultimate figure as a deluxe for $35. This is the next figure that kind of surfaced for $35. And it's very similar to kind of what you see with NECA at retail. And what you see NECA do is they put figures out for $35. But the difference is NECA will do a smaller, less... Oh, it's the same size figure, but there's less items in the package. It's blister packaged instead of the better packaging, and it's only $30. Well, I'm not seeing a picture of the packaging on it, but basically they come scaled down with less accessories, and this is an example of one, but it's $30. But I will say that I think NECA does produce higher quantities than Super 7, but I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to make it all make sense in my head. 30 would have been better, but 35 is still better than 55.
What do we get for $10?
So what do you get for $10? Still nothing for $10. It's $35. You get this. You get Lion-O, and this is how he looks. Now he is through Target now, not Walmart. And since it's through Target, it's up for pre-order. The pre-orders are sold out. They usually do sell out, and then stock just shows up in abundance at Target stores. That's usually how that goes. I'm not guaranteeing anything though. But I will share my ordering process. When I was looking up the news, I did see that it was in stock, and I went to go click on it to add it to my cart, add pre-order to my cart, and I had to log in. By the time I logged in, it had sold out. And then I just kept refreshing for a couple of minutes, and one popped up, I guess, and so I was able to get one pre-ordered. And then once my pre-order went through, it was sold out again. So not really sure what the quantity is going to be on these, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be pretty darn hot, if you ask me. Now here it is in the packaging. It does look very reminiscent of the LJN packaging. The thing I want to point out about the LJN packaging versus this is how the bubble is not exactly a rectangle on the vintage one, and as close as this mirrors it, it's still far away from. But these figures are very similar in size. The Ultimates, which are now just basically Ultimate figures as deluxe with less accessories, are just a hair, like a half an inch taller, maybe an inch taller. So they could make almost the exact same packaging and put a deluxe figure in it. It could work. They could position the sword in there the same way, and sort of looks like a cartoony version. Maybe it's a toy version. Still, it's a really cool looking version of him. Now, I guess you could say it's not the toy version because it doesn't have the yellow skin on him. But side by side, you get that feel. It's still pretty cool to get the feel. I would have still rather, if there's time, Brian, make the packaging look almost exactly like the vintage one when it comes to the bubble shape. Figure it out. That'd be cool. Here's Monkey, and I think that it looks pretty cool. And he comes with his, it's kind of his mace there he's got going on. And this helmet. So he's got two accessories. I'm not even sure if the helmet is removable. It probably is just part of the head sculpt. So you just get the one mace there that you fling around there. So that's it. He's got his ball and chain, and that's all he's got going on in there. And I'm fine with that. That's really all he needs, and that's all it. That and the hat is all he had in the vintage line. For some reason, I'm thinking they call his mace the Morning Star. I should look that up. But in here, it's just called mace. Now, this is what he originally came with. So this is not the toy version. This is the actual first version. And I was looking on BBTS, and guess what? He's sold out on BBTS. Very few of these are sold out on BBTS, but he's sold out. Now you can still get them in a regular wave, but sold out individually. And now that's perfect timing that the biggest distributor of these is sold out of them, and now you can go get it at Target, but with less accessories. So this was one that was so long ago, that was the old $45 price point, and now it's $35. So you're getting it $10 cheaper, but you're not going to get the second head, you're not going to get the shield, you're not going to get the extra hands, and you're not going to get the gun, you're just going to get the mace. Morningstar. And to point this all out, you're actually getting a different head. So you're getting a third head sculpt for this figure. If you already bought it before, it incentivizes you buying it again. Well, except for the fact that it's incentivized by, inspired by vintage retro packaging. That's pretty cool. All right, so here we go with Cobra Commander. And the last time that I saw Super 7 trying to get these Ultimates figures into Walmart, I don't think it went well. And some people in my comments were saying they got them on clearance from Walmart and down to as cheap as $12 up to about $18 on clearance at Walmart. Now, I can't validate that or anything because I never saw any of these on clearance at Walmart, except I did see some NECA stuff on clearance once, but I could imagine that this didn't go well. They just didn't look like they sold very well in my area, and so I saw them on the shelves all the time, until one day they were gone, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe they sold. Maybe they finally sold. And it was funny because they disappeared for a little bit, and then they showed back up. So they were gone for a couple of weeks, and then one Cobra Commander and one, like, Bat or something showed back up. But anyway, the $55 price point proves to be too high for retail. So that's why I think they're doing this. Henceforth, the perfect G.I. Joe Deluxe would be this Cobra Trooper. Number one, people want to army build them. So you'll sell a bunch of them for $35. Number two, he's got a bunch of just wasted accessories in there. And as for the dual skin tone, I think that you just put out an equal amount of each skin tone. That'd be cool, because I have a mixture of those in my collection, in my display. So I think they'd sell really well if you had a mixture of it out there too. You just make your first 5,000 in one and 5,000 in the other. They could do that too. Or an even mix per case or something like that. But that's something that could be done for G.I. Joe. It'd be a whole lot of fun. You would only really need like the rifle and a pistol and nothing else. And I'd be fine. Now, this is a whole side note, but it was kind of interesting. Is on Geek Dad Life, they did bring up the point with Brick. It's the bricks, whatever. Anyway, they had good points about this whole Mattel doing an Origins Thundercats line. That's coming out soon. We've seen this before with Funko. Funko did it, and they called it the Savage World. Now, the Savage World was He-Man style figures, but this was before Origins, so they didn't add elbow articulation. They didn't add the upgraded shoulder articulation, knee articulation, foot articulation. They literally were, and I'm just going to say it, the lame articulation we got from the vintage Motu, which was not something I was super excited about, but I enjoyed buying all these on clearance. I did pick most of these up for like $8 each. They did make 8 of them. Chitara was the hardest one to find, and pretty much everything in the second wave was more challenging to find than the first wave. They did have QC issues. So this is cool. It's been there and done that, but curious to see what Mattel's look like and better QC. Okay, I think it was Brick something that brought it up. But this is kind of interesting because when you're going to have a crossover through Motu Origins and Thundercats, and at the same time you have a little higher price point, more premium figure represented in Target, then that could help boost these sales. So it's a really smart, cohesive plan there that's going on. A symbiotic relationship that's being formed. Also, I didn't really talk about it, but Godzilla stuff, I don't know much about it, so I can't talk much about it, but they're $35. Looking at the market for these, the reason I pull up the G.I. Joe is because that's kind of what I was watching. The Thundercat stuff generally goes for at or more than retail. None of the stuff seems to be selling cheap. The cheapest of these Ultimates that I look at are the G.I. Joe, and that's because there's classified options out there. So some people jump ship from this to go to classified and back and forth. But this was a pretty good deal. It's still right around the $30 figure mark, and that's kind of why I pulled this up to show an example that there is definitely a market for the Ultimates figures or these new Deluxe at the $30 price point. And I bet you whoever bought this didn't even need all these figures. Probably only needed half the figures. I am definitely excited for this, and I've got to say that for $35 each, possibilities of troop builders going forward, the fact that we can get more of the characters that were sold out characters, hard to get, higher priced ones, we can get them cheaper in this fashion. That's a plus. They'll be at retail, you can see them at Target. There's a whole lot of good to this, and hopefully this means that there's a longevity for the line, and what I've always wanted, a lower price point. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, Twitter, hang out.
What do we get for $10?